We can start now, ma'am.
Okay. Can you test? I am also audible. Am I?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, you are well audible.
Ma'am, may I start?
Yes.
Pooja, please start.
A very good morning to everyone present here. I welcome you all to the ninth lecture of Kartavyam, the Constitutional Law Lecture Series organized by Campus Law Center, Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, in collaboration with top law universities and institutions all across India. An academic initiative aimed at deepening constitutional consciousness among students, scholars, and legal practitioners, this lecture series brings together eminent jurists, academicians, and public intellectuals to reflect on the living spirit of the Indian Constitution. Today, we have tuned in for the ninth lecture of the series, which is centered upon reconnecting constitutional values. In an era where rapid socioeconomic development coincides with increasing societal fragmentation, rising polarization, and institutional drift, India's core constitutional ideals comprising liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice demand renewed attention and a critical engagement that extends beyond the courtrooms and classrooms to the wider civic sphere. This lecture seeks to reflect upon these foundational values not as abstract ideals, but as a living guide for fostering inclusive governance, social cohesion, and meaningful legal and institutional reform. Before we proceed further, I would like to call upon our professor in charge, Dr. Gunjan Gupta ma'am, to set the ambience for today's session by delivering the welcome address. And I would also like to welcome our patron, Professor Dr. Alka Chavla ma'am.
Thank you, Ucha. A very good morning to everyone gathered here. With immense joy, heartfelt gratitude, and a deep sense of responsibility, I welcome you all to the ninth lecture in our Kartavyam series as we carry forward our collective journey of honoring and engaging with the Constitution of India. This gathering is more than an academic moment. It is a reaffirmation of our shared commitment to constitutional values and public duty. Each one of us, honored speakers, respected faculty, and dear students, bring with you a unique light that transforms this forum into a vibrant celebration of civic thought, dialogue, and aspirations. The theme for today's session, reconnecting constitutional values, compels us to pause and reflect. In times of rapid transformation and deep social questioning, it is the timeless principle of Kartavya, that is duty, that anchors us to our democratic foundations. A democracy derives its true strength not merely from its right it enshrines, but from the duties its people are willing to shoulder. Kartavya jurisprudence calls upon us to move beyond the entitlement, to ask what we owe to one another, to our institutions, and to the ideals that guide our republic. It is my great privilege today to welcome the distinguished guests who honor us with their presence and insights. I welcome Dr. Mona Purohit, Dean, Head and Department of Law, and I also welcome Professor Bhagwati Prakash, Chairman UNESCO, MGIEP, a renowned scholar and institution builder whose contributions bridge education, ethics, and constitutional consciousness. To both of our distinguished speakers, we are deeply grateful for your presence. Your wisdom and experience lend great value to the conversation and reaffirm our collective pursuit of justice, service, and democratic renewal. As we commence today's discourse, may it ignite not just intellectual curiosity, but also a deeper resolve to serve, to reflect, and to live out the constitutional values we hold dear. Thank you all for being here and for lending your voice, time, and spirit to this evolving legacy of Kartavya. I welcome again Dr. Mona Purohit, Dean and Head Department of Barkatullah University, who is a dedicated academic and institutional leader whose work continues to shape the legal minds of tomorrow with clarity and commitment. And again, I welcome Professor Bhagwati Prakash Sharma, Chairman UNESCO NGIP. Thank you. Over to you, Urja.
Thank you for the very warm welcome, ma'am. We are honored to have with us Dr. Mona Purohit, Dean and Head, Department of Law, Barkatullah University. Dr. Purohit is a seasoned academician with over 2 decades of experience in legal education and extensive contributions to the fields of legal research methodology, public law, intellectual property rights, environmental law, and women's legal issues. Dr. Purohit has also contributed significantly to public legal education, including through work with Doordarshan and All India Radio, consultancy for UNFPA and NLIU Bhopal on the PCPNDT Act, and training engagements with various national institutions such as the SSB and the State Administrative Academy. Her extensive scholarship combined with practical legal engagement makes her a compelling voice in dialogues on constitutional values and institutional reform. I hereby request Dr. Mona Purohit ma'am to share her insights and knowledge with the people present here today.
Thank you, Urja, for such a generous introduction of mine. Good morning and namaskar to respected Professor Bhagwati Prakash Sharma sir, Professor Alka Chawla, Professor Gunjan Gupta, Professor Ragi, Professor Seema Singh, other delegates and participants. At the outset, especially Professor Seema, for providing this wonderful opportunity to the Department of Legal Studies and Research, Barkatullah University, Bhopal, to be the partner of Kartavyam. Ladies and gentlemen, it is both an honor and responsibility to speak before you today on a subject that is very foundation of a strong and progressive society, that is the duty of citizens in driving social transformation. Today, I am sharing my views on our Kartavyam, our future, citizens as agents of social transformation. So main focus will be the role of citizen towards the social transformation. In a country as diverse, dynamic, and democratic as India, the responsibility of shaping the nation does not lie with the organ of governments alone. It rests with each one of us. The Constitution begins with the powerful words, "We, the people of India." These words are not just a part of the preamble. They are a call to action. They remind us that being creator of the power and progress of this nation depend on its people, that is on us. The Kartavyam aimed at reconnecting constitutional values. It is not just to remind us our duties, but much beyond duties, what is expected of us to be done. To understand it, we have to see the difference between the Kartavya and Kartavyam, which was already discussed by Dr. Seema. But here, Kartavyam is more than just a duty. In our tradition, Kartavya means just a duty or the responsibility which we carry as an individual in the society. But if we want to see the true sense of Kartavyam, it goes deeper. It reflects not just the action, but righteous action, which is expected from any rational being. The action which is guided by ethics, the values, the conscience. The Constitution provides duty. But in particular circumstances, what is right, what is wrong, it is to be determined by every reasonable person. And if we are able to do justice with that, we can say, yes, we are performing our Kartavya. So the question before us is, are we willing to perform our Kartavya, or we are limiting by our Kartavya only? Even when no one is watching us, or why citizen ethical or moral duties are matters in these elections. When we talk about the citizen's responsibility to transformation of the society, the system, or the mindset, we must realize that true change start from within. Start our homes, our neighborhoods, our community. It begins with how we treat others, how we speak up for what is right, even what is wrong, and how committed
चलते
we
रहने
are
दो मीटिंग मम्मा तो आपके
to
साथ
the
चाहिए
idea of a
एक्चुअली ऐसे मत करो काम के साथ मत डालो बेटा अरे
to
फोन
idea to the idea of a just, inclusive, or compassionate society. As the great Mahatma Gandhi said, I think somebody is not off their mic. I'm requesting them. As the great Mahatma Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Are we doing this? That service begins with duty, or in Sanskrit, the Kartavya, a concept deeply rooted in our spiritual and philosophical heritages, and it is only reminded by our constitution to us that we must be rooted with our past, our religion, our duties. Retrospect and understanding what can we do as a citizen is the motive of this program. Let me share some simple practical ways where every citizen can contribute to the Indian social transformation. For example, we can contribute for the civic participation. Do you think, why should I vote? Because voting day is ultimately holiday. That is time for my personal work. Are you of that thinking? Friends, please remember, vote not just as a right, but you should vote as a God because it is our duty. Your vote is your voice, and that can transform not only the society, the complete democratic fabric of the nation can be transformed by your vote. If you are paying taxes honestly, I'm just focusing on the word honestly. I know everybody is paying taxes which are there, but are you paying them honestly? Because in this way, you are contributing for the building of the schools, for the hospital, for the roads and other facilities for the poor person who are not paying. It is your social contribution because it is the distribution of justice. Are you following the traffic rules? Or just saying that I am following traffic rule is suffice? It is not your duty. Your duty goes beyond this. We have to work as a traffic inspector or a teacher for those who are not following the traffic rules. Just by doing your own work is not sufficient as a citizen. You owe something more than that. Following laws. Because order and just start with the obedience to the rules. Maximum cases are there in the court which need not to be the part of that. If you are performing your duties as a citizen, if you are performing your duties, you are following your laws, there are less number of the cases in the court and the complete system will have a different kind of furniture. Violence at home, can you responsible to stop that? Because we are talking about each and every citizen. Harassment at workplace, can you contribute to stopping that? Defamation on social media can be avoided by you just by performing your kartavya. All small violence of law, a small violation of law can be stopped by all of us when we stand together for performing our kartavya. We can also talk about the social responsibility. We always think that promotion of education is must for any society. Okay. Teach, support, simply encourage learning is not suffice. Duty to send your child to the education institution is the most important duty which is given by our constitution. We are always saying government is not performing well. What about the education system? What we are doing? Are all the citizens are sensitive enough to sending their children to the schools? They are sincere workers who are saying no, the 100% attendance of my child is needed, not for general understanding, but to gain the knowledge from the school, from the colleges. Are we contributing? Are we teaching our child or the children that they must go to the education institutes and do something? This is what we expected. We can also talk about the social responsibility to protect the environment. Do you think just throwing garbage from your house to the outside, just throwing puja samagri in the river, or using AC, providing comfortable existence to your children, or using so much of furniture and luxurious lifestyle, in this way, you are contributing for the environment? I think everybody can understand these are the area where we are not literally paying attention. So if you're thinking that our student, our child, our future is developing, or we are going to dream about the developing nation, we should pay attention on each and every action which we are doing. If we are contributing pollution by just throwing our garbage from our home, sorry, in this way, we are not saving environment for the future generation. Our every action counts here. Only government responsibility does not work at all. Engage community services in your locality. How much of us who are saying we are so-called educated, performing their duties? Are you just doing your household, or you are engaged in donating blood, creating awareness about the laws, policies, scheme which we think as a law knower know better than the others? Are we performing those duties? National building is again the last target, an ultimate target where we are trying to contribute. You should support innovation and entrepreneurship, because there is a saying that we should not become the job seeker, we should be the job givers. To be the job givers, you have to create the job creation at the national level, and ultimate that is what going to change the globe. We can contribute towards the economic, social, every kind of the development which you can think will be happen with this. Foster national unity, it is literally going to be missed, because we are not paying much attention on the everyday aspect of our thinking, what we think. Are we dividing ourselves with the religion, with the caste and everything issues? Speak not with the hate, but with harmony. Participate in local governance, be aware, raise your voice, hold leaders accountable if they need to be. As Elevator Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And if we want to that bright future, we must also believe in the power of our daily actions. There are inspiring stories all around us, even the international level. In the Philippines, the Khalsi Kids program empowered over 19,000 communities to design and implement their own development project. Even in India, The Indian Center for Social Transformation is working hard. They are using technology to improve governance and transparency. Can we? Even in children's story, we find so many lessons. In the story, maybe something beautiful. A girl transformed her community through the art. In the second story, that is about the house that Jenny built, Jenny Adams uplifts the poor through compassion and the services. These stories reminds us change doesn't require fame. It requires efforts, the root level efforts, the sincere efforts by each and every one of us. If we see the moral compass of our constitution, we found that India's constitution gives us rights, but also reminds us of our duties. Promote harmony and brotherhood, protect the natural environment, develop a scientific temper and a spirit of the inquiry, and so on. There are not options. These are the salient pillars of our national character building. As Premchand has wrote, कर्तव्य ही ऐसा आदर्श है जो कभी धोखा नहीं दे सकता. Means duty is an ideal that never deceives, because ultimately you are the person who are doing your duty. Rights can be infringed, but duty can't if you are performing them in a well manner. Let us strive not just to be good citizens, but to be active, responsible, and compassionate citizens. The kind of people who inspire social transformation through daily act of integrity and the courage. Remember, every small action counts, and when we act together, we don't just create change, we create a better India. So, I ask each of you today, do not wait for change. Be the change, lead the change, and live the change. In conclusion, let us never forget Dharma eva hato hante, dharmo rakshate rakshita. It means every righteous protects those who protect us. So whatever we are throwing to the world, that come back to us. Let us uphold our kartavya, guided by the kartavyam, and build a nation worthy of its ideals, because the future of our country is not written by the politician alone. It is we, the citizen, who wrote, and the responsibilities is with us. Let us write this future well again and again. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to sharing my views with this August gathering. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Mona ma'am. Urja?
Thank you, ma'am, for raising the crucial importance of citizens fulfilling their kartavya for reconciling constitutional values for the betterment of Indian society. Before moving further, I request everyone to ensure that their mics are muted so that the meeting can proceed smoothly. Moving on to the next esteemed speaker, we are privileged to have with us Professor Bhagwati Prakash Sharma, Chairperson of the Governing Board of UNESCO's Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development, a Category 1 UNESCO institute dedicated to promoting peace building, sustainability, and global citizenship education, particularly across the Asia-Pacific region. Professor Sharma is a distinguished economist with a rich academic legacy spanning 4 decades in the fields of commerce and management. He has served as a Vice Chancellor of Gautam Buddha University and is widely recognized for his expertise in global trade policy, economic globalization, intellectual property rights, and emerging geopolitical trends. Since the early 2000s, he has participated in the biennial ministerial conferences of the World Trade Organization, closely analyzing the multilateral trade agreements. For his contributions to education and public discourse, he has been honored with the Mahamana Madan Mohan Malviya Award by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, the Hindustan Times Excellence Award 2016, and the Dainik Bhaskar Lifetime Achievement Award 2016. I now request Professor Sharma to share his insights and knowledge on the theme with the audience.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. The esteemed galaxy of academic luminaries and dear students. I'll be speaking on a little bit different plane, as Seema Madam has asked me to. Just a minute. I think the admin has muted all, and when I was unmuting myself, it was saying that admin would only allow. I think that was the problem. Now I could unmute myself. So today I'll be speaking on a different plane, not only on kartavya or duties, but as Seema Madam has asked me that what is in our ancient jurisprudence, that is in the ancient knowledge system, ancient Indian knowledge system, what is said about Kartavya, and even the Kartavya of the king, and complete, we can say, it is the how the ancient knowledge system talks of Kartavya as well as duties of the king also, and constitutional provision, that is of the dharma. So when we talk of Kartavya, it means what is to be done and what is not to be done. And for that, we have the term dharma. My earlier speaker, Madam, has also talked about dharma. So actually, it is the self-righteousness which we should pursue. And if everybody is behaving in a self-righteous way, or if everybody's conduct and behavior is self-righteous, then I think there is no need to anybody. And that is why when you asked Bhishma that how the institution of king has evolved, so at that time Bhishma said that in ancient times there was no institution of king. Na raja, na rajyo asin, na raja, na rajyo asin, that is, there was no kingdom, there was no king. Na cha dando, na dandika. And there was no court, and there was no need of punish anybody. Na cha dando, na dandika. And dharmenev prajaha rakshanti sarvah paraspar sma. People behaved in a self-righteous way. अर्थात न प्राचीन काल में राजा था, न राज्य था, न दंड था, न दंड विधान था, न दंड देने वाला कोई था, दांडिक होता था. सब लोग धर्म पूर्वक आचरण करते थे, जिससे सब लोगों के हितों की रक्षा हो जाती थी. So this was how we can say everybody was fulfilling his or her duties, and therefore I think we will be discussing around this central issue. And this has been well corroborated that people had a self-righteous conduct corroborated by Megasthenes. Megasthenes was the Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Maurya in 300 BC. He was there for 6 years, and then he authored a book called Indica. There are 3 Indicas. One is an older one, then this is of 300 BC, and then there is another Indica, 11th century. I'm talking of Indica of Megasthenes. So Megasthenes say that in India, he again says, धर्म की मर्यादा इतनी ऊंची है, that is self righteousness is so ingrained in the conduct and behavior of the people in India that even when armies of two kings have entered into fierce battle and they are fighting, citizens continue to perform their duties and act as usual, as if nothing is going on. नागरिक उस युद्ध के दौरान भी अपने सारे काम यथावत करते रहते हैं. Farmer is going to his farm, women, children, they are also moving. Traders are also moving. That is, everybody is doing his job. They are not affected from that fierce battle that is going on, because dharma says that an armed soldier can attack on another armed soldier. The armed soldier would not hurt the common civilians even if they are the population of the enemy kingdom. अर्थात शत्रु राजा की ही प्रजा क्यों न हो, वे प्रजा को कुछ नहीं कहते थे. Today we cannot imagine that. But if Megasthenes has authored this thing in his Indica in 300 BC, then we have to believe that he must have observed this self-righteousness among the masses. Now, see how dharma was ingrained, and even we all are teachers, how those teachers of those days have ingrained ethics and conduct in the behavior, in the conduct and behavior of the people, that even a soldier who is having a sword in his hand and is not hurting the people who are moving around, who are the citizens, simple citizens, there may be women, there may be children, there may be wealthy persons, and they did not use to hurt. And this has been mentioned by Megasthenes, a foreigner, in describing about the scenario of India at that time. It means the ethics and values were so ingrained in the conduct and behavior of every soldier of all the empires that were there in India. And these values were so ingrained in the brains of the citizens also, that they had this faith or trust that these soldiers would fight themselves and they will not be hurting us, or they would not be attacking us. So see the kind of trust and faith they had in the values. So I think this is an unbelievable today. But since it has been authored by a foreigner, and therefore we have to, I think, feel it, and we have to believe it. Another thing, today we talk of nation, and today we talk of global governance, and we have United Nations Organization, we have World Health Organization, we have Food and Agriculture Organization, and all these have some regulations for the entire world. Say we have non-proliferation treaty, missile technology regime, all these things, there are regulatory mechanisms. Can we imagine any such regulatory mechanism? Could they exist in ancient? So I'll not be going in. I'll be just quoting one shlok that is often in all the ceremonies. We read it, three shlokas are read as Shanti Pat. Jagnen Jagmaya Jantas, that is the first one. The third one, last one, Om Swasti Samrajyam Bhojyam Swarajyam Vairajyam Maharajyam Adhipatya Samant Paryaya Syat Sarvabhaumah Sarvayugah Parardhat Pratibhye Samudra Paryantaya Ek Rad. Means from earth to ocean, Prithvi se Samudra Paryant. This is one nation. That is, it is governed by code of conduct. And there are kingdoms or empires pursuing different methods of, like today we have presidential system in America. Presidential system in France is different than America. We have parliamentary democracy in India. The parliamentary democracy in UK is of different kind. Then we have totalitarian society in North Korea. We have totalitarian society in China. One party rule, communist party rule. Patterns of government. In the Swasti Samrajyam, where I also talk, this whole states ruled with different patterns. First one is Om Swasti Samrajyam. Samrajyam is that kingdom where king is monarch. There is no council, there is no committee. We will talk if your time will allow, but various kinds of councils exist in those days. Even in those days, there used to exist tricameral parliaments. In the Rig Veda and Atharvaveda, they talk of tricameral parliament. Today we have bicameral parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But in our ancient texts, there are three kinds of committees. So, when there is monarch, it is called Samraj. Vairaj. Vairaj, that empire is one where the king is called Virat and the empire is called Vairaj. We see there was a Viratnagar near Alwar in the Mahabharat period. We have a large city, industrial town in Nepal, which is also called Viratnagar. In Sri Lanka also there used to be a Viratnagar. In other parts of the country also there used to be Viratnagar. So for generations together, that empire was called Vairaj and king was called Virat. In such cases, a council of powerful feudal lords is appointed by the king himself, and then the king is called Virat. Now, then there is Bhojyam. Om Swasti Samrajyam Bhojyam Vairajyam Bhojyam. Bhojyam is the king is called Bhoj. So for generations together, the king was called भोज. हमारे यहाँ भोज राजाओं की पीढ़ियां कई होती रही और कई स्थानों पर हो रही है. धार में भी भोज राजा था, भोपाल में भी था, भोजपुर नेपाल में भी है. So there used to be. Wherever there are intellectuals in the council of the king, and when it pursues the welfare government, it is called Bhoj. If you will see, Taittiriya Upanishad talks in detail the almost 16 types of governments or governances. So in that you will find what is the form of governance in case of Bhoj, in case of Vairaj. So Vairaj is another kind of Bhoj is another kind of governance. Then similarly, there are various kinds of Parmeshtam. Parmeshtam means king is some deity, that is God, and the ruler is called Diwan, prime minister of the deity. For example, in Udaipur, we had the Mewar state from 8th century. It was established by Bappa Rawal in the 8th century, and all the kings for 74 generations from 8th century up to 1947, they themselves used to call as Ekling Nath ke Diwan, that is prime minister of Ekling Nath. The ruler of the Mewar state was Eklingji, the Lord Shiva. So every time, all the kings, all the 74 kings, right from 8th century up to 20th century, up to 1947, even the last ruler Bhupal Singh Ji also had pride in calling himself as Ekling Nath ka Diwan, that is prime minister of Ekling Nath. So there are, I'll not be taking much time in describing these various forms of government. So that all these are to be governed by a common constitution, and that the basic principles were the same in all the kingdoms, and otherwise in every kingdom the king used to pursue his own course in governance. Just let me explain. Parmeshti Rajya was that governance was adopted whenever more than one king has to come together to fight some common enemy. When in the 8th century we were facing the Arab aggression, at that time when Bappa Rawal of Lalitaditya Muktapid of Kashmir, Vikramaditya II of Karnataka, almost 8 to 10 kings have fought together, the Arab invaders, and that is why it was a Parmeshti Raj. So actually, it has been just in one shlok, it has been described that this entire nation from earth to ocean is governed by a common code of conduct, that is the, we can say, global constitution, and there are states having different forms of governance, and almost 16 types of governments have been described in the Taittiriya Upanishad, in the Shatpat Brahman, in Aitareya Brahman, etc. So actually we have to analyze the ancient traditions by going through these various postulates. Now, here I would be just talking a little bit about the parapsychology also. As I have said that in India, we believed in self-righteousness, यानी कि धर्म की पालना की जाए, धर्म से आदमी नहीं हो, अलग नहीं हो. And one should not even think of violating dharma. One has to conduct in tune with the dharma. And it has been said that be committing a sin if you will not be fulfilling your duty, if you will be thinking evil about something or somebody, or if you are fulfilling your duty, all these your deeds and misdeeds are recorded by the Chitragupta. Now, just a very Chitragupta is a term having two words. Chitra means drawing the picture, envisioning, and Gupta means secretly. I have found a very fascinating study by Professor Ian Stevenson was in the Pennsylvania University. He did a lot of work on parapsychology and on human physiology also. So he has said that if we think evil in our mind about anybody, if we are telling a lie and we feel a guilt in our mind, say earlier madam was talking, we have a duty to cast our vote, but we consider that it is a holiday and we do not go. So whenever we are not fulfilling our duty, then we feel this guilt in our mind. And several such electric circuits are generated when we have some evil thought, when we tell a lie, when we misguide somebody, or we do not fulfill our duty. Our neurons of the brain triggers thousands of chemical reactions in our nervous system. This has been said, observed by Professor Ian Stevenson, that whenever we think evil, when we do something wrong, then nobody might be knowing. Say, if I'm having some evil thought in my mind, then nobody can know except me. Yet, Professor Ian Stevenson says that all these evil thoughts, on account of these evil thoughts, neurons of our brain trigger thousands of chemical reactions into the nervous system of that person. And those reactions get recorded in the nervous system. And they do replay in the form of various diseases and many other things. He has described many such things. So, the autonomous recording of our deeds and misdeeds in our nervous system as a result of the chemical reactions triggered by the neurons of the brain on the basis of what we have been thinking is, I think, our ancient scriptures have described it as Chitragupta, means which envisions very secretly. So we have to think of that. Now again, coming to the main topic, that in India, we had a tradition of electing a king or ruler. There are many such richas in the Rig Veda, and there are many such mantras in Atharvaved, Yajurved, etc. For example, I'll be reading out one mantra of Rig Veda. Atva harshi mantaredi dhruvastishta vichachalihi visharatva sarva vanchatu matvad rashtra madi brashat. So it says, हे राष्ट्र के अधिपति, मैं तुझे चुनकर लाया हूं, तू सभा के अंदर आ, स्थिर रख, चंचल मत बन, घबरा मत, तुझे सब प्रजा चाहे, तेरे द्वारा राज्य पतित न हो. It means kings used to be elected, and there are many such shlokas which I think if we will go in the details, we will find. And secondly, kings were elected or appointed without their caste, जिसको हम कहते हैं वर्ण व्यवस्था. People from all the varnas had entitlement to be the king. For example, जैमिनी पूर्व मीमांसा के सूत्र 2/313 में कुमारिल भट्ट ने लिखा है, सभी वर्णों, जातियों व वर्गों के लोग शासक होते देखे गए हैं. पाल वंश के साम्राज्य का संस्थापक गोपाल शूद्र था, जिसे राजा चुना गया. So Mahabharata says, who can be appointed or elected as king? तो महाभारत says, जो भी कोई दस्युओं अथवा डाकुओं से जनता की रक्षा करता है और नियमानुसार दंडाधिकार धारण कर न्यायपूर्वक उसका निर्वहन करता है, उसे प्रजाजनों को राजा मान्य करना चाहिए. Means people should accept that person as king who protects the people from unwanted violence. So actually in India, it is not always monarchy based on hierarchy, but on heredity, but there used to be kings to be appointed very frequently. In this regard, further, it has been said that even kings were used to draw salaries. So kings used to draw salary. There are many such. In Shukra Niti, dasatyatve prajanam cha napah tasya vihita prajapalanam vetanam. Narad Smriti says even kings used to draw salary from the taker. Even also in the Shanti Parv, it has been said, Shastra niten lipsetha vetanem dhanagamam. Means kings used to draw salaries, they were appointed. So there were various types of governments in ancient past, or how kings were elected. Atharvaved has described it, many other Smritis have also described it. So Atharvaved says, ये राजानो राजकृतः सूता ग्रामण्यश्च उपस्थीन पर्ण मह्यम त्वं सर्वान क्रंच भितो जनान. It means भद्र लोग मीन्स सभ्य लोग, राजा के निर्माता वर्ग, सूत, ग्राम प्रमुख, दक्ष शिल्पी, रथ का धातुकर्मी, विविध श्रेणी समूह राजा को चुनते थे. अथर्ववेद says. So actually we have to think of jurisprudence, ancient jurisprudence, that how kings were appointed. We have to go into our scriptures in a very detail. For example, in the Mahabharata, in the Adi Parv, after the death of King Parikshit, when his son Janmejay was appointed king, so in the Mahabharata Adi Parv यह लिखा है, सभी नागरिकों ने एक स्वर से जन्मेजय को राजा चुना. Even in case of Rudradama, it has been said that he was elected and he took an oath. Similarly, Chinese Wensang has come in the 630 in India, and he has also mentioned that on the death of Rajyavardhan, Harshvardhan was elected by the people. वहां उसने लिखा है वहनसांग की उसमें, राज्यवर्धन की मृत्यु के उपरांत प्रधानमंत्री भंडी ने मंत्रियों, न्यायाधिपतियों व श्रेणी प्रमुखों मीन्स पीपुल, लीडर्स ऑफ वेरियस कैटेगरीज ऑफ पीपुल, श्रेणी प्रमुखों की सभा कर हर्ष को राजा बनाया। ये पांडुरंग वामन काणे ने पेज 591 पे लिखा है। सो देर आर मेनी सच instances where kings used to be elected, and kings had to draw the salary also. And so in our ancient time, we can say that there was a common constitution, global constitutional norms. For example, another two important things I would like to mention. King was not all powerful. Often we believe. Our scriptures say that a king cannot make new law. He has to follow the existing laws. And that is why in 1932, Charles T. Metcalfe was the acting Governor General of India. He has authored a book on India, and he has said, in India, every village is a mini republic. He says that in India, every village is a mini republic. So actually, in India, we can say that in past, there were various forms of governance, and kings had their response, and there were many autonomous institutions, and king has to follow them. And so today we talk of rule of law. Likewise, in ancient past also, the scriptural doctrines made the laws, and a king had to follow. And that is why Gautam Smriti mein, in its 9th chapter, it has been mentioned, राजा को निम्नलिखित शासन विधानों के आधार पर नियम बनाने चाहिए। वेद, धर्मशास्त्र, वेदांग यथा व्याकरण, छंद आदि, उपवेद, पुराण। सेकंड, देश, जाति एवं कुलों की रीतियां। सो व्हाट आर द ट्रेडिशंस of the nation, as well as traditions of various castes and traditions of various kul means clans. कृषकों, व्यापारियों, महाजनों, शिल्पकारों आदि की रूढ़ियां, traditions of farmers, traders, money lenders and artisans, and तर्कशास्त्र, और तीनों वेदों के पंडित की सभा द्वारा निर्णित सम्मतियां, प्रचलित रूढ़ियों, परंपराओं और रीतियों के प्रमाण के विषय न्याय कार्य में लागू होते थे, जो कालांतर में नियमों के रूप में बंध गए। इनके विधेयन, दैट इज लेजिस्लेशन, इनके विधेयन में परिषदों, इसमें विद्वत परिषदों की भूमिका होती थी, और देयर यूज्ड टू बी various kinds of councils, जिनको कि विश्व सभा, there were narishta, for example, narishta was, I think, the superior most council. Even a king could not violate the decisions of the narishta. So actually, in ancient past, the kings were also not you can say sovereign. They had to follow the Dharma Shastras, and they have to act accordingly. However, the rural committees, they could make the laws. They had this freedom of making their own laws, but king did not have the right to make the rules. In this regard, Brahaspati Smriti अपराग चंद्रिका, व्यवहार प्रकाश, स्मृति चंद्रिका, दे क्लियरली से राजा लोग ग्रामों की श्रेणियों या गण समूहों के साथ अनुबंध अर्थात निश्चित शर्तों पर समय, कन्वेंशंस को हम समय कहते हैं ना, अभी समय conventions, they had to enter into conventions with respect to sabhagraha, jal srot, devalaya, sinchai, vishranti graha, how these various institutions had to be managed. In this regard, our ancient scriptures say that for that king has to enter into an MOU with the local committees. इनमें पारस्परिक कर्तव्यों, दायित्वों और केंद्र एवं स्वायत्त ग्राम संस्थाओं के स्थायी आधार पर सुपरिभाषित कर लेते थे. एंड दैट इज वाई इट हैज बीन ग्राम श्रेणी गणानाम च संकेतः समय क्रिया दो त्रय पंच वा कार्य समूहवतवादिन. देयर यूज्ड टू बी 3-member committee, 5-member committee, or 7-member committee regarding how various public welfare institutions have to be run, and for that the king has to enter into MOU with the people. उसमें कुलों, श्रेणियों व गणों के प्रमुखों अर्थात अध्यक्षों को उसमें he has to nominate. So actually what do I feel that in understanding our ancient jurisprudence, we have to go through our scriptures and have to interpret how the king used to act and how king used to work. Regarding the taxation also, it has been said that king should not tax very rudely the people. It should tax the people the way honeybee collects honey from the flowers without hurting the flowers. So actually in ancient times it has been described. Even a king was not allowed to act anarchically. I was also astonished when I was reading Shukra Niti Sar, that how a decision has to be taken at various levels. So the first of all, जैसे हम कहते हैं नोट शीट आगे बढ़ाना, we extend the note sheet. So it says सर्वप्रथम मंत्री, प्रविभाग, निर्णायक, पंडित एवं दूत अपने विभागों से संबंधित सम्मति या अनुशंसा करते हैं. That is, they write their recommendation on the note sheet, लिखते हैं. उस पर अमात्य, the next higher authority would be लिखिंग साधु लेखन मस्ती. साधु लेखन मस्ती means approvable, सही लिखा है, it is सही. Then at the next step, Sumant. Sumant is the next higher authority. Sumant will write सम्यक विचारितम, ठीक से सोचा समझा विचारा गया है, it is well thought proposal. सम्यक विचारितम लिख देता है. उस जो एक हम जिसमें आज कह सकते हैं जिस तरह से डायरेक्टर और द हेड विल बी राइटिंग सत्यम यथार्थम, यह सही व मान्य है, इट इज वैलिड एंड इट इज एक्सेप्टेबल. देन और लिखता है यह सही व मान्य है, कार्य के अनुकूल है, इट इज अप्रोप्रिएट. देयर आफ्टर द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ द किंग वुड बी राइटिंग अंगीकृतु योग्यम, स्वीकार करने योग्य है, एक्सेप्टेबल. उसके बाद जो है प्राइम मिनिस्टर विल बी राइटिंग एक्सेप्टेबल, अंगीकृतम अंगीकृतु योग्यम. उसके बाद युवराज लिखता है, दैट इज द प्रिंस, विल बी अंगीकर्तव्यम. अंगीकर्तव्यम मीन्स स्वीकार कर लिया जाए. देखिए आप दोनों में अंगीकर्तु योग्यम, एक्सेप्टेबल, एंड उसके बाद में युवराज लिखता है टू बी एक्सेप्टेड. देन इट गोज टू द पुरोहित. पुरोहित मीन्स पुर का हित सोचने वाला. पुरोहित यानी पूजा पाठ वाला नहीं है. आप अगर इसकी शब्दों की निर्वचन देखेंगे तो उसमें पुरोहित. लेख्य स्वाभिमतम, मैं उसका अनुमोदन करता हूं, इस लिखे हुए का मैं अनुमोदन करता हूं. सभी इस प्रकार से लिखकर अपनी स्टैंप लगाएंगे, एंड देयर आफ्टर किंग वुड बी एक्सेप्टिंग, लिखता है अंगीकृतम, अंगीकृतम मीन्स एक्सेप्टेड। तो लास्ट में when a king writes angikritam, accepted, before that 7 people have to give their opinion. So it is not like that in ancient past king was monarch and he used to do anything. If we go through Var Chandrika, Apararka Chandrika, all these common nitis are, so we will find that whether how the governance was run at that time, how office procedures were followed. So it was not that हम कभी किसी आदिम युग में रहते थे और राजा ऐसा मन में आती थी वैसा निर्णय ले लेता था, ऐसा नहीं होता था. Everything was to be well thought. Like for taxation also, it has been said, राजा को करातिरेक एवं अत्यधिक करादान रूपी अत्याचारों से विरत रहना चाहिए, कौटिल्य लिखता है. King should abstain from harsh taxation. So taxation should not be harsh. वो कहता है अनुसार करों की अधिकता से प्रजा में दरिद्रता, लोभ, असंतोष, विराग आदि उपजते हैं और लोग कर चुराते हैं, कर चोरी करते हैं. All the smritis have, like Manusmriti, Vishnu Dharma Sutra, they have said that king cannot take more than 1/6, that is 15% of the revenue of a person. तो 1/6 को अधिक से अधिक बताया है. महाभारत शांति पर्व and Shukra Niti says, in the times of emergency, king can tax additional amount. उस समय उसको अधिक टैक्स लगाने की छूट दी गई है, बट ही शुड वेरी इंटीमेटली रिक्वेस्ट द पीपुल, इसमें है, लेकिन एक से अधिक बार नहीं. इसके लिए राजा को प्रजा से स्नेहपूर्ण याचना करनी चाहिए. इट मीन्स स्मृतिस, धर्म सूत्रास have prescribed how much taxation can be imposed, and in case of emergency, say in case of war, in case of famine, or in case of anything, if you have to tax people more, then you have to request people and you have to make it acceptable to the people. जैसे महाभारत शांति पर्व में भी कहा है, कभी भी अधिक कर लगाने के पूर्व राजा प्रजाजनों से विशेष आग्रह करे. दूसरा, कर सदैव करदाता को हल्का लगे, जिसे वह बिना कठिनाई व कर चोरी के चुका सके. अब देखिए महाभारत से, महाभारत ने कहा है, शांति पर्व 87th चैप्टर श्लोकास 26 to 33, that king should impose tax in such a way that people are not induced to evade taxes, or that is why आज हम, if we see in India from 1951 up to 1987, the highest rate of income tax was 75%. Then there was 10% surcharge. So we see that it used to come to about 83%. Then there were other cess, etc. So the incidence of tax was very high. And that is why in India, a lot of black money was generated before 90s, when the tax rate was very high. Today, our highest rate of income tax is only 30%. So what do I want to convey is that in ancient times, in ancient jurisprudence, everything was well delineated, well documented. Kings were expected to follow that. And even at many places it has been said in Vedic scripture also, that in administering justice, a king should not discriminate, even if there is his son, his father, his brother, his teacher, his wife, anybody is there, he has to administer justice impartially, and he should not show partiality towards anybody. So actually, what we feel that in ancient scriptures, conduct of that is there was I will just finish with one more example. I think my time is also likely to be over. So as I have said that global governance पृथ्वी समुद्र पर एक राष्ट्र इति पृथ्वी से समुद्र पर्यंत यह एक राष्ट्र है. It is one nation from earth to ocean. And when Bhagwan Ram kills Bali, and Bali asked, "Dharma hetu avtare hu gosai mare hu mohi vyad ki nai." You have incarnated to protect the dharma, and you have killed me like hunter. So he said that we are moving around under the orders of the King Bharat, because at the time when Lord Ram was in Vanvas, so King Bharat was ruling. So he said, हम भरत की महाराज भरत की आज्ञा से विचरण कर रहे हैं, और जहां कहीं धर्म का हनन हो रहा है वहां पर हमें दंड देना यह हमारा कर्तव्य है. और इसलिए तुमने अपनी भाई की पत्नी का अपहरण कर लिया था, इसलिए हमारे लिए तुमको दंडित करना आवश्यक है. नाउ Koshal, Awadh was having different area. It was in the territory of Kishkinda. Kishkinda was not under Awadh. But actually, these common tenets or common principles, they were to be followed and pursued everywhere. This is what one has to see. So I think we have to, when we talk of ancient jurisprudence, we have to analyze our scriptures in depth. And actually, every shlok or every mantra or every mention in our ancient scriptures has a lot of such connotations. So we should keep in mind while studying the ancient jurisprudence. But one thing is very clear, that pursuing dharma, that is pursuing fulfilling the one's duties, was considered to be essential, and the people's rights were protected when everybody used to fulfill his or her duty. So in this regard, I think I have tried to convey how Kartavya jurisprudence was incorporated into our ancient scriptures. So that is why I think how much I could convey, I can't say, but how much I could convince you. But at least we should study our ancient scriptures from this point of view. That one more thing. In the Sabha of Yudhishthir, once Narad Muni goes, and Narad Muni asks him, Yudhishthir, he asked 123 questions to Yudhishthir before their vanvas, when he was given the separate Duryodhan, and both were given the separate. Indraprastha was the capital of Yudhishthir. So Narad Muni goes there, and Narad Muni asks whether you protect seeds for the farmers, whether you provide irrigation facilities to the farmers, do you have enough canals to provide water up to the farms of the farmers, whether you support your farmers, or for all sections of society. He asked whether you get up in the morning and have do analysis of various facts, whether you keep a vigil on income and expenditure of the state. So almost for good governance, Narad Muni asks 123 questions. They are there in the Sabha Parv of Mahabharata. And these 123 questions, they talk of the tenets of good governance. Likewise, in Mahabharata, in Ramayana, everywhere we find all these things. For example, Madam has asked me to talk something about Ram Rajya also. So even I can say that when we talk of Ram Rajya, so just I will read one shlok and conclude. The Valmiki Ramayana describes Ram Rajya हृष्टः प्रमुदितो लोकस्तुष्टः पुष्टः सुधार्मिकः निरामयो विशोकश्च दुर्भिक्ष भय विवर्जितः. Means all the people of in the Ram Rajya were healthy, were having cheerfulness. They were well satisfied from their conduct and their wealth. Sudharmik means used to pursue all the self-righteousness in their conduct and behavior. Niramayo means were disease-free. Vishokascha means had no sorrow. Durbhiksh bhaya vivarjitah, there was no famine, there was no fear, and they were. Even further he says, धर्मेण रक्षस्तस्य हृष्टपुष्ट जनाकुला. धर्मेण रक्षस्तस्य, लोग एक दूसरे को प्रोटेक्ट करते थे थ्रू धर्म. That is, everybody used to behave or conduct his activities in such a way that they were in the self-righteousness, dharma-purvak आचरण करते थे. So automatically the rights of everybody were protected. So it says, धर्मेण रक्षस्तस्य हृष्टपुष्ट जनाकुला बभूव पृथ्वी सर्व धनधान्य समृद्धिनी निर्दस्यु, no dacoits, निर्दस्यु भवर लोको नानर्थ किंचित प्रशत, no thieves, चापि वृद्धा बालानाम प्रेत कार्याणि कुर्वते. Now indirectly it says, वृद्धों को बच्चों के अंतिम संस्कार नहीं करने पड़ते. This means there was no child death or infant deaths. दृष्टा धर्म परम रामम च हिंसा, that is very low. So आसन प्रजा धर्म परा रामे राज्यम प्रशासति. The entire population used to pursue self righteousness, धर्म का आचरण करते थे सब लोग. तो मतलब अगर हम जाएंगे तो बहुत अच्छा हमें मिलेगा कि प्राचीन काल में किस तरह से सारा हमारा धर्मयुक्त आचरण था. So I think dharma was so well described by Megasthenes that we can interpret in that light. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for sharing your very valuable insights and expanding the discussion to such a degree, sir. Before we conclude this session, we would now like to open the floor for questions. And if anyone has any question, they may either unmute themselves or share it in the chat box. We'll wait for another minute or two in case there are any.
We can proceed, Urja.
Okay. I now invite Seema ma'am to to conclude the session with a vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, and it was truly an enlightening session, I think, for all of us. And Madam Mona Purohit ji and Bhagwati sir, मतलब जो आप लोगों ने थोड़े समय में 1 घंटे में इतनी सारी चीजें डिस्कस करी हैं, they all are very much important. One thing which I wanted to inform to all of you that due to viral fever, Sangeet Ragi sir could not join us today, and he will join us in some other program, some other day. लेकिन आज कुछ बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण चीजें यहाँ पे डिस्कस की गई, और एक जो मुझे लगता है ना कि एक यंग माइंड के दिमाग में रहता है कि what does it make any sense to know about the things which belongs to our past. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली अगर हम लोग देखेंगे तो बहुत सेटल्ड तरीके से इसको एक ऑर्थोडॉक्स स्कूल के रूप में स्टैब्लिश कर दिया गया है हमारे भी दिमाग में, जहाँ पे हमें लगता है कि सारी चीजें ऑर्थोडॉक्स हैं एंड देयर इज नो नीड टू नो ऑल दीज थिंग्स. बट मुझे लग रहा है कि जितना आज भगवती सर ने और मोना मैडम ने यहाँ पे डिस्कस किया, एटलीस्ट एकेडमिशियंस के लिए, एडवोकेट्स के लिए और लॉ स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कुछ बहुत ही वैलिड पॉइंट उठाए गए. मोना पुरोहित मैम ने जो एक रेलेवेंस बताई कि इफ वी आर नॉट परफॉर्मिंग आवर ड्यूटी वी कैन नॉट क्लेम दैट वी आर डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ आवर राइट्स. तो वोट ना दे करके सरकार को कोसना सफाई ना रख करके गंदगी के लिए सरकार को कोसना और हर चीज के लिए किसी दूसरे को जिम्मेदार बताना, चाहे वो सरकार हो या सिस्टम हो, ये तब तक उचित नहीं है जब तक कि हम खुद अपने कर्तव्य का पालन ना करते हो। तो एक जो बड़ा लंबा डिस्कशन चलता है कि राइट एंड ड्यूटीज और ड्यूटीज एंड राइट, तो भारत में हमेशा ड्यूटीज एंड राइट का कॉन्सेप्ट रहा, ना कि राइट्स एंड ड्यूटीज का, बिकॉज द वेस्ट बिलीव कि पहले राइट है और फिर कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग ड्यूटी है, और भारत ये बिलीव करता है कि वंस यू आर परफॉर्मिंग योर ड्यूटीज ऑटोमेटिकली यू आर गोइंग टू गेट योर राइट्स। और मोना मैम, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने अपना समय दिया आज और हम सबको जो है एनलाइटन किया अबाउट दिस इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ ड्यूटी इन द प्रेजेंट सर्कमस्टेंसेस। एंड भगवती सर, आपने तो जो पूरी जर्नी बताई, आई मीन वी ऑल आर एक्सट्रीमली थैंकफुल टू यू। हमें तो पता भी नहीं है, हम में से ज्यादातर लोगों को, क्योंकि हम ये मानते हैं कि जो पुराना है उसका कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है। लेकिन आज मेरा आप सब लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट है कि अगर आप लोगों ने ध्यान से सर को सुना होगा, तो एक कंफ्यूजन मुझे लगता है जो पूरे के पूरे लीगल डोमेन में प्रिवेल कर रही है फ्रॉम जुडिशरी टू एकेडमिया, and that is related with the jurisprudence of several things, like either it is a jurisprudence of minor, जो कि आजकल आप देख रहे हैं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट में चल रहा है कि माइनर की एज क्या होगी, माइनर की एज को कम कर दो, माइनर को राइट टू डिटर्मिनेशन दे दो, चॉइस दे दो। तो माइनर जुरिस्प्रूडेंस को लेकर के हो, टैक्स के जुरिस्प्रूडेंस को लेकर के हो, ड्यूटी के जुरिस्प्रूडेंस को लेकर के हो, या फिर क्या बोलते हैं इसको, एनवायरमेंटल जुरिस्प्रूडेंस को लेकर के हो, इन सारी चीजों का जो डिस्कशन है वो हमारे टेक्स्ट में कहीं ना कहीं किया गया है। और एक जो चीज मुझे लगता है हम सबको यहाँ से सीखनी चाहिए और हमें इस पे स्टडी भी करनी चाहिए कि पिछले 200 सालों में, यानी पोस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन, पूरी दुनिया में जो कंफ्लिक्ट क्रिएट हुआ और आज भी जिसे हम टैरिफ वॉर के रूप में या किसी और वॉर के रूप में देखते हैं, उसका मेन रीजन ही राइट सेंट्रिक वर्ल्ड है। और राइट वो अधिकार, चाहे वो संपत्ति को लेकर के हो, व्यक्ति को लेकर के हो, या जिस भी चीज को लेकर के हो, समझना बहुत जरूरी है कि अगर हमें चीजों को सुव्यवस्थित करना, एंड इफ वी एक्चुअली वांट टू एस्टेब्लिश peace in the world, then not only India but for the entire world, ड्यूटी सेंट्रिक सोसाइटी इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और एक सर आपने बहुत अच्छा बताया, मुझे लगता है कि हम लोग को यू हैव गिवन एनफ फूड फॉर थॉट कि ये जो आपका डेमोक्रेसी का मॉडल है, इसको लेकर के भी दुनिया में एक बहस हो रही है कि वेदर द प्रेजेंट मॉडल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी विच इज प्योरली डिपेंडेंट अपॉन द नंबर्स, ये कितना सही है। तो मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि आने वाले समय में डेमोक्रेसी के इस स्ट्रक्चर को लेकर के भी एक डिबेट होगी। और आपने जो बताया अभी कि हमारे यहाँ पे किस तरीके से 16 तरीके के सिस्टम गवर्नमेंट के जो है प्रिस्क्राइब्ड है, मुझे लगता है हमें इसका अध्ययन करना चाहिए। एंड साइमल्टेनियसली दिस इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ क्या बोलते हैं, रोल ऑफ किंग क्या होना चाहिए, दैट इज इक्वली इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज नाउ द किंग हैज बीन रिप्लेस्ड बाय द इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट। तो सर इन सारी चीजों के बारे में आपने जो हम लोग का इतना नॉलेज हमारा बढ़ाया है, और यू हैव गिवन अस अ न्यू डायरेक्शन टू एक्सप्लोर इन सम न्यू डोमेन, तो वी आर एक्सट्रीमली एक्सट्रीमली थैंकफुल टू यू एंड यू हैव प्रोवाइडेड सो मच ऑफ योर टाइम टू अस। और हम आपको सर कभी कभी बीच बीच में डिस्टर्ब भी करेंगे, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि जो टेक्स्ट आपने अभी बताए हैं, मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप वो हमें दे भी दें, ताकि जो बच्चे हम में से जो लोग भी उसको पढ़ना चाहें, और हमें कोई नया सिस्टम अगर सेटअप करना है तो उसमें कौन कौन सी चीजें अपने हिसाब से लेनी चाहिए, उस पर भी हम ध्यान दे सकें। एंड ऑब्वियसली वी आर अ टाइम टेस्टिंग एग्जिस्टिंग सिविलाइजेशन, तो 30 साल 70 साल 100 साल पुरानी जिन गवर्नमेंट मॉडल को हम कॉपी करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, एक्चुअली में वो टाइम टेस्टेड भी नहीं है। तो हमारा जो टाइम टेस्टेड मॉडल है वो क्या था, ये जानना भी हमारे लिए बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। तो इसी के साथ सर आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि संडे के दिन आपने अपना इतना वैल्यूएबल टाइम दिया। पर मेरी आप लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट जरूर है कि आज जो भी यहाँ पर डिस्कशन हुआ, एक बार आप पीछे जरूर जाइए और जानने की कोशिश कीजिए। जैसे बहुत अच्छी बात बताई कास्ट सिस्टम को लेके, या वर्ण व्यवस्था, जिस कास्ट हमने इसको बोला, वर्ण व्यवस्था जिसको कि हम कहते हैं। और मुझे अगर लगता है कि जो अंग्रेजों ने पहला सेंसस किया था, उसका उद्देश्य इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन जानना नहीं था, पहले सेंसस का उद्देश्य ही यही था कि आप इंडिया को कितनी कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड कर सकते हैं। तो हमें उन चीजों पे भी ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि जहां से हम खराब हुए हैं, ये जानने के लिए ये जानना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है कि जब हम अच्छे थे तो हम क्या थे, और तभी हम अपने आप को सुधार सकते हैं। तो इसी के साथ एक बार फिर से आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। भगवती सर आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गुंजन मैम, थैंक्स टू यू फॉर ऑल योर सपोर्ट। मोना मैम का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद पूरी डीडीएस की टीम को, और
मैडम
जितने भी
आपने
लोग। हाँ जी
कास्ट की
सर।
बात की, मैं आपको बीच में टोक रहा हूं।
जी
एक बात मैं कहे बिना नहीं रह सकता।
जी।
महाभारत में सभी जातियों को मंत्रिमंडल में रखने की बात कही है। महाभारत में उसका शांति पर्व के 85th चैप्टर में 7 to 9 श्लोक में दिया है। 37 लोगों का मंत्रिमंडल बताया है, कैबिनेट, जिसमें 3 शूद्र, एक सूत। सूत को भी आज हम ओबीसी में ले लेते हैं। आवश्यक बतलाए हैं। महाभारत के श्लोक के अनुसार मंत्रिमंडल की संरचना में 4 विद्वान साहसी ब्राह्मण, ब्राह्मण 4 ही चाहिए, 8 वीर क्षत्रिय, 21 धनी वैश्य, मतलब जो है बिजनेस को ज्यादा दिए, और 3 शूद्र व पुराणों में पारंगत एक सूत की संख्या बताई है 37 में। यानी कि एक्सक्लूजन नहीं है कि मंत्रिमंडल भी सभी जातियों से बनाने की बात। आपने जाति वाली बात कही ना, तो मुझे ये एक आवश्यक लगा।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। और हमारे यहाँ तो जाति शब्द इस्तेमाल भी नहीं किया गया, बाद में आया है, तो हमें इस पे भी जरूर रिसर्च करनी चाहिए जब आपका आज के समय का पूरा नैरेटिव कहीं ना कहीं कास्ट की तरफ जाता है। तो आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गुंजन मैम, कैन वी कंक्लूड द सेशन?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bhagwati sir. Really, it was very knowledgeable, very inspiring, and learning, knowing shloka's true meaning was really grateful experience. Thank you.
खुला हुआ है मैम, और पार्टीज के सुविधा के अनुसार ऑनलाइन भी करवा सकते हैं। मान लीजिए कोई पार्टी नहीं आ सकती तो ऑनलाइन भी कर सकते हैं। जितने आपके पुराने केसेस हैं उसमें चेक बाउंस के हो गए, 138 का जैसे हो गया, फैमिली मैटर्स हो गए, अगर एक केस निमटता है तो 5 सॉल्व हो जाते हैं उसमें। डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस हो गया, मेंटेनेंस हो गया, आपका स्त्री धन का हो गया 406 डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस, और इस तरह से सिविल
पंकज
मैटर्स।
जी, एक बार अपना परिचय देंगे क्या?
जी मैम, मैं एडवोकेट हूँ, मेरठ से, डीएलएसए से हूँ, मीडिएटर भी हूँ, और दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी का एक्स स्टूडेंट भी रहा हूँ मैम, आज से करीब 28 साल पहले।
अरे वाह।
तो मुझे ये था कि मैम देखिए, हमारे राइट्स में भी मेरा कर्तव्य भी है कि इसके बारे में मैंने शतांशु से भी किया था, और थोड़े से मैंने वो भी बनाए हैं इसमें। तो मैं चार्ट्स भी शेयर कर दूंगा ताकि अगले किसी प्रोग्राम में आप लोग शेयर कर सकें। और केवल 3 महीने का स्पेशल ड्राइव बनाया गया मैम, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के,
आपके
माननीय
पास
सुप्रीम
मेरा
कोर्ट से।
नंबर है क्या?
Ma'am, if it would be in the list, then I will share, or I will take from Shatanshu, ma'am.
ना अपना डिटेल शेयर कर लीजिए, हम आपसे कांटेक्ट करेंगे। और जो आपने सजेशन दिया है बहुत अच्छा सुझाव है आपका। इसके लिए
जी
हम
मैम,
जो भी कर पाएंगे ना एज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन, डेफिनेटली वी विल डू
जी जी मैम,
इट।
उसमें
जस्ट
सिविल मैटर्स और क्रिमिनल के जो कंपाउंडेबल ऑफेंस है ना, वो भी निमट जाते हैं, एक ही सिटिंग में निमट जाता है ये, तो तारीख से तारीख पे बच जाते हैं लोग तो मैम।
नहीं नहीं,
तो
बढ़िया है।
ज्यादा
आप
कंसर्न
आप
नहीं है।
आप
और
आप नंबर जो है दे दीजिएगा अपना, और
मैम,
हम आपसे